Good morning, it's Sunday morning, really early in the morning, too early for perfume. So today I've got my box of samples. It's had an upgrade. I've moved all the other samples into the old box and put the new ones in this one. So all this stuff I've definitely not done before on a video. So yeah, let's have a look, see what we're gonna get. The weather's kind of a bit chilly, same as most days last week. You know, a bit grey, a bit cold. I've been wearing a lot of florals this week, so something not floral might be nice, just for a bit of a change, maybe. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is cool. So I bought this when I bought a perfume secondhand, and so they just sent this along with it, which was really nice of them, because this is hyper expensive, which is the only thing I know about this. Because I don't actually know this perfume, but I know this line. But it's Clive Christian, and it's from a line called Chasing the Dragon, and this one's Hypnotic. So it's I think it's Chasing the Dragon Hypnotic, I think it's called. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that it's hyper expensive. Like I wouldn't pay for it. So yeah, let's give it a go. Yeah, it's got nothing on. Just checking. So it's quite an oily perfume. It's quite thick. Don't know if you can really make that out, but yeah, it's quite oily. Okay, off the top it's got something almost a bit leathery in there. A little bit kind of sweetly spiced and leathery. But there's definitely something like quite a sour, almost astringent fruit in there. But that leather is quite thick, and it almost sort of, there's something else behind that as well with the leather that's sort of sweet. And it almost makes it feel like a kind of a very dark coffee, or very, very, very bitter and dark chocolate. It smells, yeah, a bit, almost quite like astringent. It reminds me of a little bit is reminds me a little bit if you took Laudanum Nero, Tiziana Terenzi, and you took out all the musk and all the smoke and all the wood, so basically pretty much all of the perfume, but you had that kind of fruity bit that comes along. It reminds me of that a little bit, like a kind of sharp, astringent, sort of absinthe kind of vibe. I can't work out what that fruit is though, but it's dark, and it's a little bit sour and a little bit sweet. But otherwise, that's pretty much what I'm getting right now. So I'm getting like this kind of right on the top, like almost on the very tip of it, this kind of sharp, sour fruit that I can't quite place, but it feels quite dark. And then kind of underneath that, a kind of very kind of rich, almost a touch animalic leather with a sort of, feels like a coffee almost in there, like a very dark, rich, bitter sort of something under there. And along with that, there's that kind of astringent floral, or sort of almost like fruity floral, that's a little bit astringent and a little bit sharp. And then there's some kind of sweetness underneath all that, some sort of sweet spice. Smells nice. I'm not sure it's as nice as the price would make it out to be, but it's definitely an interesting one. So yeah, I'll wear that for the rest of the day, and then I'll come back and give my full impressions a bit later on. Cheers. Okay, I'm back. It's 10:30 at night, so I've been wearing Jason Dragon Hypnotic for about 9.5 hours. It's a skin scent now. Basically, it's pretty much gone. But I found some stuff out about it. So it was made in 2017. Perfumer was Angela Stavrevska. I'd never heard of her before. She's done a few other stuff for Clive Christian and a company called The Seven Virtues, and that's about it. But you know, that's all. That was all I could find about her, really. So it's an eau de parfum, 25% concentration, apparently, according to their website. And the note listing, according to their website, is it's class it as an oriental spicy, and they say it's a smoky incense, pink pepper, ginger, clove, black cherry, which was the note that I was struggling with, cinnamon, basil, labdamen, amber, leather, and vetiver. Some and some. So after about 10 minutes, I found that it got really sweet, and it was almost like a gourmand. And about the only thing that was really kind of pulling it back and stopping it was the kind of quite subtly animalic leather that was kind of stopping it from tilting towards like a kind of gourmand. But it was very sweet, and it had a soft, very again sweet incense, and it wasn't very smoky. To be honest, I'm big on smoke. I like a lot of smoke in my fragrances, so that might just be a personal preference. But I didn't find it to be very smoky. I quite like, something a lot more smoky than this. I thought the smoke was pretty weak. After about 30 minutes, it got really sweet, and it got a little bit of kind of almost like vanilla in there as well. But the vanilla was really milky. I think if the leather wasn't there, it was in danger of kind of tilting very, very sweet to the point where I wouldn't have enjoyed it at all. But the leather kind of just brought it back and kind of grounded it, and so stopped it going too gourmand and stopped it getting sort of too sweet as well. And it was quite nice. The woodiness started coming out a little bit in the base, a little bit of clove, but again, not really any smoke. In fact, as it goes into the sort of heart of the fragrance, you get almost no smoke at all. It almost clears, like I don't know if it just gets buried, but the smoke more or less disappears. Between like 30 minutes and an hour mark, and around about the hour mark, it was really quite woody, and the wood to me smelled like a very dark hardwood, like a very dark hardwood that was sort of finished as well, like polished dark hardwood. The cherry was there, and had that little bit of sweet spice just below everything with the incense. But the incense and the sweet spice, 100% back in the fragrance, like sort of very much underneath everything with that kind of milky vanilla. Nothing, say, was very defined. Very abstract, very kind of wishy-washy. Things were kind of all over the shop. Yeah, it wasn't heavy, it was well balanced. But it did feel very thick and like treacly. Yeah, almost like treacle, like you could almost kind of like feel it and kind of like sort of sludge through it. But that wasn't in a bad way. I think it was blended really well, so that no one note was particularly easy to pick. It sort of intermeshed really nicely. So I thought it was really done well. And then really that was about it. And then sort of after about 3 hours, it changed quite dramatically. And it dropped almost all of those herbs and spices and sweetness. And it just became like a smoky incense. But very, again, like gentle smoke. But the incense, and there's also, like at this point, all the wood's kind of left except from a little bit of vetiver. But the vetiver it's quite soft in this. It's a bit of one, like it's the soft noodle type of vetiver. It's not a kind of like punchy kind of like sharp vetiver. Instead, it was kind of like just adding a little subtle pepper, a little subtle woods, and sort of adding that to the incense. That is a tricky one, because it was a big departure from up till then. It was a dramatic shift between sort of 3 hours and 4 hours. And the incense becomes very, very prominent, to the point where I would say it is only incense, little touch of smoke, little touch of vetiver. And the incense smelled a bit like Coca-Cola. It's very sweet. Smelled like a sort of smoky Coca-Cola incense. Like if you could buy incense in a Coca-Cola flavour smell, it's what it would smell like. And for me, yeah, it wasn't very nice. I didn't really like it. The dry down for me was not my favourite part. It was the first sort of 2 or 3 hours I really enjoyed, and then after about 3 to 4 hours, I didn't really enjoy it after that. And to be honest, by about 5 or 6 hours, it became almost nothing, like a very close skin scent, and that to me is a bit rubbish when it cost, I found out, a cool £550 or $760, I think, to last 5 hours is pretty weak. But you know, it was nice. I enjoyed it. It was a well done scent, and I did really enjoy the opening and the first 2 or 3 hours. I thought it was really complex. I thought it was blended really well. Would I buy it? Personally, no, I wouldn't, just for the price. Everyone kind of has to draw a line somewhere, I guess, and for me, this is beyond my limit. You know, I don't go that expensive. But you know, that's it, if you do, I think it was really nice. I do think it was up there with the kind of fine margins of expensive and good fragrances, where you think this is really, like, you know, fine margins between something that's just good and something that's absolutely excellent and worth the price you paid. Certainly, I would not pay £560 for this. But not because it's a bad fragrance. It was a really nice fragrance. I did really enjoy it. Say everyone's just got to have that line, haven't they, of what they're willing to spend, and for me this is more than it. If someone gave me a bottle and said, there you go, would I wear it? Yes, and I would enjoy it. Probably wouldn't wear it that much because it was quite thick, it was quite heavy, a little dense. You might like that, that's possibly a personal thing. For me it was very dense. I like some scents that are dense. I mean, like, I've sort of waxed lyrical on multiple occasions about Lord No Nero. I mean, that's quite a dense fragrance. But for me, this was quite thick and dense, but in a almost one-dimensional way. It didn't really offer much apart from a nice smell. Whereas for me, like, Lord No Nero offers a lot more for me. Like, I think it's a nice smell, but I also like the smokes and the woods, and I feel like it's quite an interesting sort of representation of different things and a lovely artistic kind of effort. This, it was just a really nice smell, and that was it. So in summary, I guess kind of meh. I don't want to say meh, like, you know, it was kind of average, because it was really nice and it was really well done, but you're kind of always reminded of that price, and for me it's not that good. There's much cheaper for better, and even if I didn't have that line in the sand, I just don't think I would buy it. But glad I tried it. Was very nice. I've not smelled a lot like it, I'll give it that. It did have like a certain uniqueness to it. But just would I wear it a lot? I don't think so. I think it would actually be quite hard to wear in terms of wearing it then. I think it leans masculine pretty much, but it's pretty unisex, but I think it leans masculine. The trick would be where you would wear it, to be honest, because it's not really a club banger. It's not, you know, like, it's got a lot of sweet elements and things like that, which would make it almost a little too fun and kind of easygoing for sort of black tie occasions and things like that. But it at the same time, it's almost a little too thick and sort of sort of treacly and that for the fun element. It's too I don't want to say, well, or, opulent, if you like. It's too showy and thick, and there's too much going on for just a casual fun scent. So it kind of just ends up being a little bit in the middle. So I just don't think I would ever find myself reaching for it if I had a bottle of it. I don't think I would ever I can't imagine a point in my life where I'd walk up to the shelf and go, that's the one, that's what I'm wearing today with this outfit for this situation. I just wouldn't do it. I can't convert it. It would be something that I would just pick up and go, oh yeah, go on, I'll wear that today. And maybe that's great, but again, for a £500 odd fragrance, I'd want it to do something more than that. So yeah, to sum up, really nice fragrance, but for me personally, not worth it, and difficult to wear slightly, and just kind of whatever really. I don't want to say meh, because it was a really good fragrance, but kind of meh really. It's kind of what it comes down to. So yeah, that was Clive Christian Chasing the Dragon Hypnotic. So yeah, that's Sunday Sample for this week. Thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. Cheers.